Hello folks, this is Ben Gessel. I'll at least make one more video tonight, and hopefully some more, I think, next few days. I think I know what I'm going to talk about in this video. I can't guarantee, though, that, well, okay, I'm just, sometimes, again, I do outlines for videos, other times I know what I'm going to talk about, but it's not always easy to know how to get there. But this video is coming straight from the heart. I'm not really, I don't know. So, it might seem a little bit, we'll just say what you're going to watch here, it might seem, it will probably be closest to something spiritual, but I don't know if I'd put it in one of my spiritual videos or philosophical, religious, that sort of thing. Political, I don't know, might be miscellaneous, I'll have to think about this, but, okay, so, you know, I had a dream last night. I actually was kind of taking a nap a little bit earlier this morning, and you know, my dreams are kind of a little bit talk about these kinds of things on YouTube. Some of my dreams, and there's a lot of others that, you know, so many others that, of course, I haven't. I don't know, thousands of videos, thousands of dreams I've had in my life that, you know, I haven't even talked about most of them. But the thing is the reason I mentioned the stream is that there's an element to it that kind of stuck with me a little bit. It was, I suppose it was something kind of related to something social, how I see people socially. In this case, in my dream, would be more geared toward women. But the feeling I had when I woke up was something along the lines of, yeah, most people, again, the vast majority of people, just don't get me. And it hurts more when you want to have a close relationship with someone, but, you know, there's a lot of things that might get in the way of that. But it hurts when you know that someone doesn't understand really who you are as a person. Sometimes, you know, a lot of things that can kind of offset that, or a lot of things that can kind of make that hurt, emotional kind of hurt, lessen. But it just all depends on how much you like someone, and or how much you want that another person to understand who. So sometimes it's not necessarily always a romantic thing. Sometimes it's just everyone wants to be understood. Everyone wants to know that their essence, their identity, is understood by those people that they like, you know, the most. And, you know, I know when people get who I am, and, or at least, you know, they know who, they can recognize who I am. And those people that don't. And, you know, the thing is we all need more of the kinds of friends and people in our lives that are good people that really do understand us, that we feel connected to. We all could use more of those folks. But part of what I'm going to talk about now is it's going to be maybe a little dark, hopefully not too dark. So, it's coming from the heart again. I sometimes feel a little bit like, just right now in my life, I feel a little bit like, I don't know how to put this. There's a kind of feeling of once let's say, you know, you've been pulled over by a cop before, and he treats you like a criminal. He's very gruff with you, and you know, he's not. He just treats you like, you know, you're gonna get a ticket no matter what, or worse. And so, you know, I know a lot of folks out there, maybe I don't know, not just black people, but a lot of people in the inner city are saying, "Oh, you have no idea," right? Okay, right, I know. But there's those experiences that someone can have. There's experiences of just feeling like you don't know people at church that you go to, or you want to go back to college, but you don't always. Maybe they won't feel like, you know, when you go back to college, that even if to the extent that you had peers in college when you were younger, even if you went to college, maybe you didn't, but maybe if you went back to college, you wouldn't feel like you had anybody that you could really socialize with even then. Those feelings, and maybe some of you work in places where you want to be able to socialize with people at work, but you can't. Some kinds of jobs have those rules, or there's a lot of rules regarding kind of nature of the social life at work. It all depends on the nature of the work that you're doing, I suppose. So, you know, it's kind of, what I'm talking about is, and then of course there's the feelings of, you know, whether or not it's getting bad grades at some point in school, or maybe getting something church related where, you know, you just don't feel like you belong with a group of people at church. Maybe it's a family situation where you are very upset with your parents, your siblings, and you feel alone. You know, heck, it could be even during a happy time where you're doing some social activity, maybe church related or not, and you just all of a sudden feel like nobody that you're with is really anybody that what you're doing and what's going on isn't at all interesting or fun, or you just want to go somewhere else. And then there's so many other kinds of situations I'm talking about you find yourself in. Things like, just again, the feeling that you're kind of being pushed down. It can take a lot of different forms. The feeling of that you're not as good of a person. The feeling of again, social ostracization from people that maybe you wanted to be better friends with them. Maybe you want to be more included. Maybe not. Maybe it was just looking for anyone to belong with. And whether or not you've had that happen in your life before or not, it's more of just kind of feeling of maybe an ongoing sense of, you know, yeah. Maybe it's something where you're frustrated with American society, in our case, American society, and how everybody seems to be very money-oriented, and they're looking at what you have, and looking at, you know, they're just evaluating you, but kind of in a very superficial way, and, you know, yeah. Whoa, what, do you own any stocks? Oh, my wife and I, we use this bank. Oh yeah, so you should consider buying a house. You know, and sometimes the things you hear are so innocent, well, they're just so, you know, well-meaning. Oh, it's much more. It's much a better idea to, even if you're not sure about it, you know, go ahead and put a down payment on a new house. You know, it's better to own your own place than to rent. It should be, and maybe you're not ready for that yet, and it should be something like, well, sometimes some certain trains of thought that comes, certain trains of certain trains of thought that come when you're gazing out in the space. Usually that should be generally more of a spiritual kind of experience, an uplifting experience, but sometimes you can feel insignificant, like you don't mean anything. And you can hear, I mean everything. But when you hear these things, sometimes they're church kinds of things from church leaders, or maybe you hear things that are meant to, buoy you up. They don't, because you think, well, that's what they're supposed to say, or that this is the, of course they would say that. This is this kind of setting, where they would say something to try to, you matter, you are someone special. And but there's something to that, but you don't feel special. You don't feel valued. In fact, you might feel like a criminal, depending on how you've been treated. You might feel unwanted, ugly. You might feel unattractive, too old to date. These kinds of things. You might feel misunderstood, unworthy. You might feel even worse feelings. Imagine how someone feels in jail. They'd say they were wrongfully or rightfully put in jail for a felony. So they're going to be there for a long time. Someone killed someone. Maybe it's an act of rage, just went berserk. They maybe got involved with drugs or alcohol, and they just lost their temper and they killed someone. Or they killed their wife, they killed their girlfriend, or they seriously hurt them, or any number of things that you could have. Someone who never thought in a million years they'd ever be in jail. They're in jail. Why? Because they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. They had some friends, and those friends decided to go rob some place. They were caught, and associated with that group, or something related to vandalism, or something related to. You could be wrongfully put in prison too. So imagine that person in prison, thinking about all these. They're in prison. Oh, their life is ruined, right? Who are their friends? Well, their friends are other felons. We don't think about. I think we just have a lot of things wrong sometimes in our outlook of ourselves, sometimes, and other people. We get a lot of things wrong, and one of those things is that, this is one of the things I believe the most about Christianity, we'll say. The way that God sees us is not the way that man sees us. But we are surrounded by men, right? When you get a bad grade, or you don't graduate from college, or even high school, or you're disrespected, or somebody, you're interested in someone and their parents don't approve of you, or for whatever reason, or you're accused of something that you know that you didn't do. You're so lonely that you resort maybe do some things that seem kind of ridiculous, but you meant well. You go to a bar, heaven forbid, if you're Mormon, and you try to meet people there. It's an interesting experience, and you feel not so great. Hopefully you didn't drink, but you forget to pay your taxes on time. Let's say you're saying you could, and you get in trouble. Right? I don't know what the penalty is, but let's say you end up in jail. That's another reason to go to jail, right? You're kicked out of your apartment, kicked out of your house. Your credit is destroyed. Someone steals your identity. Your parents are killed, or killed in a car crash, or murdered. A war erupts. You lose everything right outside your house. You're some people you thought were your best friends turned out to be your enemies, or worse people that betray you. So we go through a divorce. Everything turns upside down. The things that you count on in life, it turns out you can't count on them. You've been misled. You've been deceived. How many of us human beings does that apply to? Any of those things? I'm not talking about the people that... I'm not talking about the people in this video necessarily that have everything going well for them and that have a lot of things that they need to change about themselves. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people that are still people of character who have a lot of crud right now. So much cred sometimes they don't know where to start. It could be that they're a hoarder and their place is filthy, dirty, full of junk, or full of things that they don't want to get rid of, but they're not really very valuable. And you don't know where to put it. You're just trapped amongst all your stuff. Right? Any kind of habit that holds you back spiritually, emotionally. These kinds of folks are the people I'm talking to. People could see this video, could have been just let out of prison, And so, I ask myself, what do I know about which people are really, which people should I spend more time with? Which people are more, who should I, who should I identify with? Who should if someone would put a label on me, what labels are true and what labels should I like, that maybe I wouldn't have identified with in the past. You kind of have to do a little bit of a matrix-like reevaluation of the world from time to time. I really think you do. And I just feel like it's very evident, and I'm just going to say this straight out. This is what I'm trying to say. It's very, very evident, no matter what's on TV, or movies, or in kind of your world of acquaintances, right? And if you feel like there's very, very few friends you really have, especially if someone's in jail, right? That there's nobody, and hardly anybody that you really would consider a friend, or any, okay, so I'm getting on other sidetracks here, but what I'm trying to say is it takes a lot of tenacity and a lot of spiritual, emotional strength to get through those times of discouragement, loneliness, and disillusionment and confusion, and times when everybody's beating you down, the world's beating you down, things are not fair, you don't have very much stuff. You want to be wealthier. It takes more strength than most people realize to just put on a happy face and be pleasant with people. Is there ever a reason why someone who's having a hard time, is there ever a good reason why someone like that should snap at someone? I mean, aggressively. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not God. I just know that we're not supposed to treat people aggressively. I suppose cops do that because it's their job, but a cop would still. Here's the thing: a cop would still, if they see a person in the future that they had to put in handcuffs, I don't know, or a judge, or lawyer, anyone who is partly responsible for someone going to jail, or involved in that whole process. If you see someone in the future, whether in this life or the next life, that you put in handcuffs or you went to jail, could you have a conversation with that person, whether or not even that person is in better shape spiritually or not? You have a conversation with that person and not be aggressive, or to be forgiving, or to be kind, to be real with them, respectful. I mean, if a cop couldn't do that, well, that's one case of where maybe that line of work might not be the best thing for that person in a spiritual sense, because cops can be bullies, and that very job kind of lets them do that a little bit. You have a badge, gun, you have physical training, you can get away with stuff, especially if you're in a corrupt precinct or department or whatever. Everybody's doing it. There's so many other examples I could mention here. I mean, say you're the president of a company that's pretty big and you're pretty wealthy. You go to some retreat with a bunch of other presidents, and you're having halibut and prime rib. It's basically just a bunch of presentations and a lot of wines and stuff. And then there's parties later on, and some of the presidents, there's womanizing going on. You're one of those wealthy presidents, and there's just some person. Maybe the function you're having, maybe it's at a nice restaurant, and it kind of go around. Maybe it's like a hotel, like a resort. We'll say it's a resort. It's just some, let's say, just an older lady sees the resort. I think about this sometimes. I think of resorts. An old lady comes up to you. You're outside the resort and just talking to some folks. She just asks for money or for food and something, and you're not sure what's going on with her. Could be that she lost her home. Could be that nobody's taking care of her. You don't know what's going on. She doesn't want money for drugs necessarily. Definitely not that. You don't get that impression. But she's hungry. And you see a lot of these other business executives treating her poorly, or like, oh man, what's going on? Let's get security or something, right? We often don't give beggars money because we think they're going to spend it on drugs, right? You know what I would do? She smelled the really good food that everybody's going to have, and she just wanted some food, some of the bread or something. Yeah, absolutely. I'd give her almost my dinner. I talk to her a bit and make sure that, because the thing is, do you want to make sure that there are someone in that situation is going to be okay? So, ask her questions, make sure she was going to be financially okay, make sure that she's going to be physically okay. All those things. If you were to leave her the way she... I'm going to repeat what I just said. The way that the world sees us is not the way God sees us. And, I can't explain it any better than that. And when you're with a group of people, sometimes that you think they're really great, and then you have a situation like this, and they treat that person like garbage. You're tempted to do the same thing. It could be something as... Well, I don't know. Like... When you're a boy, boys can be not so great, right? But much of what they do, if it's not so great, is based on what? TV, their parents, if their parents are not so great. If the parents are great people, and the kid is worse than a jerk, right? Bully, or real hellion. Well, there are very few cases when, yeah, there's always that side to psyche that is a little bit unknown still, but they might have an abusive older brother. They might have someone else who's picking on them that's their peer. Might feel peer pressure to do something bad. Could be relative. It could be just a wicked thought, an evil thought that just keeps growing in the person, the boy. You never know. What do you think happens to someone when... So I've never gone to jail. And I can tell you though, if I ever were to go to jail, I'd say it was a speeding ticket. I couldn't find a place to pull over. Well, I don't know. Or maybe my driver's license was expired, or I didn't have my license with me, or didn't have my insurance card. I didn't want to pay a hefty fine for not having it. Right? So I got this wacky idea that you should just keep going, right? So for whatever reason, I'm in jail. I'm in the police station. Do you guys have any idea how embarrassing it would be? Unless you've been in that situation where your parents come and pick you up when you're younger, in jail. There's so many other instances, far worse than that can just destroy someone's self-esteem and respect for themselves and this feeling of being respected by others and just kind of the social well-being. We live in a world where people are extremely judgmental, and they think they know a lot about people, but they don't. Well, what do you do? Where do you turn? This is the reason why we have church. This is the reason why we have religion. But a lot of times, it's like a joke. If someone's religion isn't helping them, what good is it? The thing is as imperfect human beings, we don't always know what actually will help us the most. We have a pretty good idea, but we don't always really know. In a spiritual sense, this is where the Holy Ghost comes into play. But I can mention that more. If you guys have questions about that, I can mention that more. But, other than the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit, there's a kind of our conscience that can give us some sort of gut feeling, gut instinct about things. It can kind of help us out. I don't consume any drugs or alcohol, smoking, that sort of thing, for a number of reasons. And one of them is because, for instance, if you consume something that it's a mind altering kind of thing, well, if you're in a difficult situation, you can't think straight. You know, your mind is not present. So it makes it much harder to. I mean, you don't want to be any angrier than you could be if you were very angry. But you don't want to be enraged by alcohol. You don't want to lose control of your body and start swinging and get in trouble because of violence. And you don't want to. I would think you wouldn't want to get drunk and sleep with someone who has AIDS, or even, you really shouldn't womanize to begin with. You should, anyway, but it's hard enough to just make control of yourself sometimes. I mean, heck, recently it's been very hot in the summer. It's been so hot that I've had to work on my own mental state, mental well-being, emotional well-being, a feeling of not wanting to be angry or short with people. If it gets really hot, it's just, it makes you go haywire sometimes, right? Some people wanting to stay hydrated, wanting to stay, you know what I mean? Something as simple as that, can cause someone to kind of lose it sometimes. Or financial stress. Other kinds of things. What I'm trying to say is that there are places to turn to, but I could tell you what they are, but you wouldn't always agree with those things. You might not agree with those things. So, some problems you have to just try to sort of head on. It's good to try to get help with some things. Other things, I think, require some searching. Whether or not you have to keep searching every day. Keep asking questions. Keep at it. Sometimes you might not be in this. Sometimes you might be tired of searching for a while, but at some point you have to pick it up again. It could be something like you go to a certain church your entire life, and then one day you just feel like you don't click with everybody. I mean, even if these people know you from birth, and then you look around and you just don't feel like you really. I mean, it could be something. I don't know. I do believe that God exists. I do believe He listens to us when we pray. And the more that we want Him to be a part of our lives, the more we show that with the way we live, the more that He will come into our lives. Some people have nothing but the feeling that God is with them, and hopefully some water and hopefully some food. That's it. For some people, that's actually it. Or not even some of the food, or I don't know. For some people, I'm not trying to glorify that kind of person. What I'm trying to say is that some people literally have no friends, and just the feeling that everything will be okay. It's just the hope that everything will be okay, and nothing else. But we'd say to ourselves, oh, when we want to compare ourselves with them and say, oh, look how much more blessed we are, look how much more things we have in our lives. It's not always the best way of looking at it. It's better to think well, okay. What we're talking about is a certain kind of humility, a state of character, a state of heart, more than anything else. It's the humility to, and humility is also very related to courage, I think, a little bit too, but it's the humility to cry at certain times, more, especially when you're by yourself, but just let it out. But it's also the humility to recognize where your feelings, try to make wrong things right. If you feel sorrow because of the wickedness of the world, and you cry because of that, it's part of that whole thing, but that usually comes after crying in at least the initial stages of repentance for your own sins. It always starts inside, right? Then, when things, you feel a little bit better, you can think about external, right? When I was younger, I was so upset sometimes with my peers. Tried to put those thoughts aside as I've gotten older. Had some success. There are trains of thought, though, that I have to stop sometimes, and there's a lot of ways to try to do that. I suppose that's one of the nice things about TV, but TV is kind of a little bit like eating ice cream, where, you know, a little bit of it's fine right off the bat, but then you get enough of it, you need to do something else, right? But yeah, there's a lot of scummy people out there. A lot of scummy people. They'll try to make you feel like you're not, like you're one of the bad guys, or that you're not included, you're not wanted. You're a weirdo even, right? You're a menace to society. You're undesirable. You're dirty, unclean. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants to be around you. You're worthless, right? You see on YouTube all the time these dumb comments, like "Go kill yourself," right? That stuff. It's easy to say, especially being a guy. Oh, this is just some young punk that's just being an idiot, right? They don't know what they're saying. It could be worse than that for that person. We don't know what's going on, and we live in a day and age where we have so much of our social interactions are electronic, and it's I wish it wasn't the case. It does feel shallow, you know. So, for instance, I plan on making a handful of videos, between 3 to a handful of videos every week. Try to gradually build things on YouTube. That's my plan on YouTube. But I realize that, you know, there are limitations regarding the world of YouTube, and I have to remember what they are. I can't, you know, no matter what happens in the future. For instance, regarding my YouTube channel, it can't. There's so many other things in my life that have to take precedence over that. But for that matter, you know, I have seen recently some videos regarding how to grow your subscription base, you know, your subscribers, and eventually maybe make some money. Well, those videos are well-meaning, I'm sure. They're very helpful, but not only sometimes it's so easy to lose sight of yourself, what you're doing, why you're doing it. You can just be, some people, everybody's a little different, but it's easy to just kind of forget about you, right? What do I really need, and what do I really want, versus what you're just watching on TV or YouTube, and what are they telling me? You have to. It's so easy to just kind of listen to this stuff unfiltered, right? If you, so I've done this before, where I'll watch something on TV, and in my mind I'm more accepting. I'm I'm less filtering, right? I'm less judgmental. I'm less conscious mind, right? Or It's like I'm not super, critical. I'm very much a little more delta stage, not quite that, still not sleeping stage, but I'm like very just accepting, very, oh, that's interesting, oh. And you're rolling things over. Maybe they're coming from TV or from YouTube or something else, and you're in a more accepting mindset, or more, we'll say, a potentially vulnerable mindset. Because if something slips in there that is actually not good, more sinister, evil idea, or a false idea, is half truth, a distortion, a deception, misconception. You don't have as much of that ability to call it right when it happens. It depends on what we're talking about here. But I mean, when are you more likely to? What state of mind are you more likely to resist having premarital sex? Right? Are you going to say no when you're really alert, really about what you're doing, or when you're about to go to bed and it's really late and really tired, right? Or something along those lines? Of course, you could be more inclined to want to I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that we can be very unfiltered with the media, and if watching a lot of media, some people at some point, I think, will base more of their lives around media for whatever reason, and we're taught to listen, right? Listen, try to understand other people. It's very important, actually, to be able to do that, but for real people that are good people. You want to be able to do that for people that are humble, and they're trying to be better, they're trying to be good, or are just decent people. If you sense someone really is a bad person, what kind of relationship do you have with that person? It depends on how arrogant they are. It depends how prideful they are. It depends. And the most arrogant, prideful people in the world that are probably some of the worst people in the world, which should be some of the people that don't. I would expect people shouldn't. I can see why people would want to spend much time with that person if they're talking about more goodly sorts of people. But you do want to be very open and extremely so with good people. You don't want to be judgmental. You don't want to filter everything they're saying. You want to be more open to them. But so many times in life, you come across so many good people that are decent people, and we want to filter everything they're saying. And then, maybe there are people that are in our lives that are worse people than those people. And sometimes we're closer with them. Like we have more. I mean, it's. I know there are people that watch this video at some point that know exactly what I'm talking about, and we let them in our lives, and we tell them our biggest secrets and our biggest things in our life, and they betray us, or they make light of some things, or they treat us like crud. And we were so accepting of them. We were so open to them. Like in the case of media, if you let's say you're watching a TV show, and you're a faithful TV show watcher. You watch that TV show all the time. And I don't know. You pick the show. I mean, the TV is it's still getting worse, and my landlord watches it. And I don't know, just But you watch the show, and all the time, and you're paying money to watch. I don't know what is you're watching it, and do the people on this TV program, do they value you? No, they just value your money. But you know, your money goes through a bunch of hands in media anyway. Nobody cares about you on that show. Just you. Some people with reality TV and everything, and other kinds of things that, you know, they'll have favorite actors. Well, favorite actors and actresses, right? And some people, you know, I saw this when I was younger, really into tabloids, and it's easy to laugh at people that are really into tabloids for whatever reason. It's easy to say, oh gosh, that's so weird, right? That's as you gotten older, I've been like, those are the people that you actually want to talk to more, even if they're kind of weird, and you just want them to feel like they've met someone that's for real, that really respects them, and knows a little bit about what they really are like. A lot of people that read tabloids and watch tabloid TV are, you know, of all kinds of folks, but some people really are very lonely out there. I don't read tabloids. I've never done that. But I know there are people that do. Not only that, but all the reality shows out there. And again, you know, who is deserving of our attention? Who is deserving of us? You know, I plan on being involved with media in life, but I don't want to have anything to do with programs or shows. No, my landlord watches some shows. He loves that stuff. Yeah, I talk about real people. Okay, you say all the people are being for real, right? At least when I was watching Survivor, for instance. At least when I was watching Survivor, I knew there were some people on Survivor that I would like to meet in real life. But, you know, it's different. TV is always different than real life. Meeting people in real life. I think what I'm trying to say in this video is, more than anything else, that it's just, there's all kinds of things that can be very deceptive and throw us off. And I know that their author is ultimately Satan. And I know that there is a way out of certain psychological, certain mental, emotional trains of thought that are tumbling down, or thoughts of hopelessness, thoughts of ongoing things. There's ways out, but those ways out might not take a while. I don't know. It might take quite a while, and you know, there are people that are really good people that are often just not very mature, not very understanding, and say silly things, you know, dumb things they don't really mean. You know, you can tell when someone really means something. I think when someone gets older, you can still mean what you say when you're younger. But you can tell when someone really means something and is being serious when, you know, there's a certain look that they have, a certain tone of voice. I just want to say, you know, it doesn't matter what society thinks of us. Eventually, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is ultimately what God thinks of us. And then after God, the people that we're closest to. But it is God, after all, that knows us the best, and we're all His children. And so it's just hard sometimes to feel His presence when there's a lot of other things that are interfering with that, perhaps. But I hope this makes sense. No, I mean, life isn't fair. You could be the most upstanding citizen in the world. You can get straight A's, and then all of a sudden, something happens that causes your whole world, right, your whole house of cards to come tumbling down. It's not Joker's gun. It's not his device to blow up a hospital. It's somebody very key in your life betrays you, says something, does something that you never thought was possible. A parent disowns you, for instance. Says, I don't want anything to do with you. You got bad grades. You're on your own. Not going to a prestigious college. You know, you've betrayed family name, and you've tarnished our family's honor. It could be something religious where you join a church that your parents were opposed to. You did it because you felt it was true, and I don't know. It's just everybody's story is a little different. Everybody's a different story to tell. You have people that haven't had any human contact, I think, for most of their lives. They're overjoyed when someone just says anything to them. Just burst into tears. You wonder why. Why would someone burst into tears? An old man. Just someone, a nice person comes up to him and says hi. Gives him a lollipop, a little girl. You wonder why an old man would burst into tears. Well, it isn't really too hard if you think about it. Of course, you do have, there are people that choose to kind of live more hermit-like lives that maybe have really chosen that, and they might have they might have a side to them where they are perhaps a bit more emotionally healthy people that way. You never can tell. There's a gentleman who lives out in the big rainforest, by the way. So he has a show. I can't remember his name offhand, but I'd be surprised if he were to become very emotional. If some random person were to just talk to him in a more meaningful way, more of a kind of a uplifting way. I would be surprised if he were to be very moved, but not too surprised. But yeah, there are people that nobody ever talks to for their entire lives. And some people that are scum of the earth, who have everything they ever wanted. How is that fair? It isn't fair. This life is not fair again. And so all I can say is that everything will be worked out after this life. I wish this life were different. Of course I do. I'm not God. Some people can't even not believe in God because of all the things that have happened. The injustice of life, when you think about it, can be overwhelming. That's why a lot of people don't want to think about it. But it's important at some points in life to keep being reminded of how this life is not fair at all, and about how the injustices that people go through, the pains, the heartaches, to even have an inkling of an idea of what that really is all about. It's important to actually be able to do that, because if you don't do that, you can construct your own house of cards. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. It doesn't matter how many people in your life that are good people. It doesn't matter. It just takes the house of cards tumbling down. Just take that tumbling down. The thing everything you built just being destroyed. For some people, it might be that point when they realize, oh my gosh, I've wasted my entire life. For what? Or most of my life. All right. Leave me your thoughts and comments below. Catch you guys later.